have 2 defenders on him, and he's got to make a play to create a shot for someone else. He, in effect, should be a decoy coming off a pick and roll and should get an assist, in theory, for GW to get the lead. And for URI, I mean, obviously they need to be physical, big, aggressive on this ball screen. I think it's going to be a ball screen for Bishop. That's what I would think.
Well, Bishop has been in control here in this second half. 13 points today. They've all come after the break. That's 2 behind Hunter Dean, who leads the team with 15. He also has 10 rebounds. And sending GW to the line has been a bad play there for George Washington. You said Bishop should take the shot. Took a difficult one and made it. Now that you're up 1, 37 left in the game, 23 to shoot. What's your game plan inside the huddle?
Well, again, I think Bishop, I actually thought that the help would be so extreme on Bishop that he'd have to pass the ball, but he had enough space to get it off. And it's going to be a Bishop play unless they do something like they did against George Mason. Maybe a fake handoff and use Bamisile or Hunter Dean.
So Bishop, 0 points in the first half. He has 15 in the second. It started with that deep 3, and he's been making a living, kind of showing some patience up top, but knowing when to really take the ball to the hoop and when to knock one down from deep.
He's a tough shot maker. We saw the highlights in the opening, like getting a hand up on this guy. You could do all the right things against Bishop, but sometimes it doesn't matter because he's just a gifted scorer.
And he has made all 4 of his field goal attempts in this half, John. All 4.
A lot of times, defense, effort, and offense go together. I'm telling you, Coach Christian's favorite play is going to be the one we talked about earlier, where Bishop chased the ball down in transition, dove on the floor, forced a turnover. Again, when Coach Christian says, I want more from Bishop, he wasn't talking about more points. He was talking about plays like that. And when you're engaged defensively and in the whole game, it's going to sharpen his focus on the offensive end, too. He's playing great.
What's something we should keep in mind defensively here for Rhode Island?
Well, I would... They got their hands full. I would not deviate a single bit from their principles. They need to trust their fundamentals, help and recover.
Really 2 different ways you could go here. You could toss it up inside for kind of a lob and hope you get fortunate that way, or set a pick up top for a deep 3. Which one would you feel better about?
I don't think Rhode Island will allow the lob. I think that they'll have one of the Mitchell twins head under the basket, and you're not going to get the lob. The problem with not tapping it in is, will you have enough time to get the shot off? It's going to have to be a real quick release. But I think it'll end up being a jump shot, because I'll be very surprised if one of the Mitchell twins is not head under that rim, which takes away the chance for an easy tap in.
Well, George Washington has 0 timeouts left. We keep that in mind. If they do go with the deep ball, looking down at who has shot the ball well, it's really been Bishop. He's 2 out of 3 shooting the 3.
It's going to be hard.
He's also going to be their top priority to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for GW to get a shot, because with just 1 second, one of the twins will protect the lob. Everyone else will not leave their man. They will be tight.
They just added another second. So
big difference.
How much
Huge
of a difference? What changes with 2 instead of 1?
Now you can comfortably take a jump shot. You don't have to.
What a close finish there on George Washington, Rhode Island. Welcome to this game at the Siegel Center, as St. Joseph's looking to end what has been a dismal streak here, has not won a game. And Ed Richmond looking to get something going here. 8-0 run, then now being eaten up by VCU's defense, which, as you mentioned, Ron Thompson, turns into offense, and now we're looking at VCU trying to get something going.
Yeah, you know, and what we're seeing is good job defensively so far this game for the most part by St. Joe's. They've done a really solid job at causing VCU to second-guess themselves in the half court. VCU hasn't had a lot of scoring opportunities so that they can set up their full-court pressure. So that's been going in the Hawks' favor so far this game. But, again, their defensive pressure isn't a one-punch knockout kind of a punch. It's one of those deals that it wears you down. It wears you down, and eventually you get irritated, and all of a sudden, that's when VCU tends to go on their run.
Freshman star Eric Reynolds really coming on big right now for St. Joseph's. He has struggling there in the last possession before the break, where Vince Williams put some pressure on him, forced a turnover, and you can see Coach Billy Lang saying, hey, slow down. Great space. Another turnover by VCU. Here comes Hassan Ward. And one, the old-fashioned way.
Ward's amazing. He's one of those bigs that it seems like in 3 strides he goes the length of the court. That time, again, we see him. You see the deflection on one end, solid defense. VCU, one of the best in the country with their reaction time. Once they get a steal, they're off to the races. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's your center finishing the break in transition, beating guards on both ball clubs down the floor.
And I truly am sorry for anyone who missed the incredible highlight dunk just a couple minutes ago. That Ward, Vince Williams coming down, no look pass to Ward, who brings it back. Maybe it looked like he dislocated his arm. How far he brought it back, slammed it. Entire stadium went crazy.
But what was even more impressive? And we're giving the fans a visual because they weren't able to see it. His head was almost parallel to the rim when he threw it down.
And that time, he takes it all the way. VCU's currently on a 7-0 run. We're starting to see that famous pressure. There are different looks. It's not just one full-court pressure. And St. Joseph's has struggled in recent times, having a scoring drought. They have not scored for up to 5 minutes at this point.
Exactly. So far this game, VCU hasn't turned up the heat on high in the full court. But in the half court, they're starting to run and jump. They're starting to trap a little bit. They're rotating, as you see right there, picking up the charge. We talked earlier about Ward's dunk. It was awesome, but the key was to stop in transition. We see the hard push by Baldwin, and then look at Ward. He goes up high. His head's almost parallel to the rim. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 6'9", 6'10" center, by the way, filling the lane again.
So we just had a turnover there by Ejike Obinne. And Ace Baldwin, who basically is involved, him and Vince Williams, you're going to see in every major play for VCU, took the charge, dribbling in and out, weaving in and out of traffic. We saw Ward wanting it, gets the rebound, slows it down. There's Vince from deep. Good. This is the first lead for VCU, 10-8. St. Joseph's trying.
Corey, that possession, Williams will get credit for hitting the three, but credit Ward for keeping that ball alive, getting the offensive rebound, and then kicking it out, not just throwing it in Williams' direction, but giving him a shootable pass, and he knocks it down.
Now on this side, the Hawks trying to get something going. Earlier starter Cameron Brown left the game, and Demir Bishop, who scored 20 points against VCU last year, comes in the game. Perhaps a spark. This time, Jordan Hall could not get it to go. Here and Siegel have not disappointed. The band has been playing beautifully. We have our fans right here, our friends at the front row, bringing the energy. But all in all, what a turn of fortune for St. Joseph's to go 8-0 to start this ball game. Then they actually led VCU. VCU had 4 turnovers, and St. Joseph has 2. Now we check in on a turnover check. St. Joe's has 9, and VCU has 6. What happened?
What St. Joe's did was they turned up their pressure in terms of their half-court defense. You think of St. Joe's, you think of VCU, you tend to think of them pressing full court. Their half-court pressure is what forced the turnovers that got them back in this game. And oh, by the way, because of the 9 turnovers, every point that VCU currently has, which is 10, they got it off of the turnovers that they forced.
This is actually a 10-0 run here in the last 4 minutes. This time, a turnover forced by St. Joseph's. First time we've seen them pull out the full court press too, by the way.
Yes, what they did was VCU's been struggling in the half court offensively, just in terms of their execution. And as we say, VCU gets it, and they turn it back over. It's been a sloppy game so far on both parts. Both teams have turned it over so far at an alarming rate. Right now, VCU's at 7, and the Hawks, they're at 10 right now in terms of turnovers. So both teams haven't been able to establish a cadence or rhythm offensively because of the fact that they're turning it over.
Jordan Hall finds Cameron Brown, breaks the press, but up and down, there's the travel coming the other way. It's interesting. Watch the body language of Jordan Hall. All game long, he's been trying to remain even-keeled, but you can see him coaching out there like an air traffic controller, truly. Directing traffic. He, last year as a freshman, led the entire nation, all the freshmen in the nation in assists, and you can see him giving a lot of assists. Just, hey, run over here. Hey, go back that way.
Yeah, well, last year he played a lot of the point guard position, so he understands where the traps, he understands where the pressure's coming from, but he also understands offensively where the pressure releases are for his ball club.
So watch the way as he pushes the ball up once again to Brown. We just saw this deja vu. Brown trying to get something going and break this drought for St. Joe's after such a promising start. Vince Williams forces a turnover, brings it up. Is he going to shoot it from three? Yes! Same spot as last time. 2 for 2.
Again, VCU, they get a lot of credit for their full court pressure, and their full court pressure is good, but they're a very good half-court defensive ball club. They make you work for everything. When they're supposed to rotate and trap, as you see right here, they double on the post. Williams, active hands, comes out with it, the hard push. He lets the play form itself. He didn't have his mind made up that he was going to shoot that three. He had his eyes up looking to hit someone. When that wasn't there, then he realized the play was on him, and he nails the knockdown three.
We're going to see Vince Williams in a lot of different aspects, from forcing turnovers, shooting threes, rebounding, basically everything you can imagine, coming off this game at Davidson where he had 16 points. Coach Mike Rhodes told us best career game for him.
He was really excited about his aggressiveness. That's what I think he liked the most. He was assertive. He didn't just allow things to come. He initiated them, and that's what they need from their senior.
And this is what I like to see about Demir Bishop, being aggressive, going to the line, trying to force something and get VCU in foul trouble. Billy Lang here is head coach for St. Joseph, looking for his first career win at VCU.
Yeah, and you know, he was real aware in talking to him yesterday at understanding that we're going to get pressure, but he wanted his guys to know once they receive this pressure from VCU, from an offensive standpoint, that they knew where they were supposed to be and have the right spacing. As we see Funk in the corner nailing that long-range bomb.
Demir Bishop draws the foul. Then we see Anton Jansen come in the game and Taylor Funk hitting the three-point where he basically lives. VCU trying to respond. And here comes St. Joseph, one of the best defensive rebounding teams in the league. Turn that defense potentially into offense. VCU has something to say about it. And here comes Vince Williams. Jalen DeLoach, a talented young player. Coach Rhodes is high on him. Couldn't get that to roll. So here comes Jordan Hall pushing the pace. We see Funk coming off the screen, getting the ball where he feels so comfortable. He's top 3 in the conference beyond the arc in basically every three-point shooting category. And there he is, looking to take it from 3, skips it to Hall. Hall's shot's off, but Funk follows. Jansen, it's a jump ball, and here comes Vince Williams again. VCU survives one of the longest half-court positions we've seen St. Joe's have.
When you look at this game, though, VCU plays 10 guys, 10 minutes or more. I mean, that's double-figure minutes for 10-plus guys, and you have to sub, and you want to sub when you have the defensive pressure, full court and half court that you see from VCU. Let's look and see if it starts to wear physically on St. Joe's as this game goes on, because they're not as deep a ball club as VCU is.
And Coach Rhodes, their head coach of VCU in his 5th year, tremendous success at this program since most recently A-10 Player of the Year, Bones Highland to the NBA. There's a great photo, by the way, too, on Twitter where he's holding Bones' jersey in his office, the Denver Nuggets jersey, and he always emphasizes the relationships he has with his players and how they continue. But he's had a tremendous amount of success here at VCU. Jansen turns the ball over. Here comes Curry to ace Baldwin. He's always under control, isn't he? There, though, the pass.
Yeah, he seems like you aren't able to speed him up. If he makes a mistake, it's because it's something that he's trying to do more so than you being able to speed him up. And that's an uncanny ability for a young man that's only a sophomore. You know, when you watch him play, you seem to think that Baldwin is a junior or a senior. No, this young man is only a sophomore, and he's only played, almost 15 games as a sophomore.
From outer space! Funk is out there a little short. Here comes Curry in transition. Funk tries to take the charge. No call. Jansen's there to clean it up.
That's one of those plays that I think Curry, instead of trying to get all the way to the basket, stop and shoot the little 8-10 footer. He tried to get all the way, took an off-balance shot, could have pulled up.
And then you mentioned Ace Baldwin there. He has a knack for the ball. Sometimes it looks as though he's a defensive back for like Alabama or something playing, or Georgia, I should say. They just won the championship. Here comes Bishop, who has been very productive. I know it hasn't translated to points, but he has affected both sides thus far. Well, here it is. VCU up 2. We have an 8-10 conference battle here, but to start us off, how about this? Trevion Graham, legendary VCU player, got his jersey retired. So we, as college basketball fans, got to know number 21 very well on the court. Well, guess what? For now, generations to come, young boys and girls coming into Siegel Center will get to know that jersey right there and see it every single day and be inspired. You look at the resume, it speaks for itself. After a breakout sophomore year, it just went on and on and on. Second in school history in points, 4 NCAA tournaments, 2 conference titles, played for 4 different NBA teams, the Hornets, Timberwolves, Nets, and Hawks. And I love this story. We mentioned Coach Rhodes really championing the relationships. He said that's what makes VCU different. Earlier this week, Briante Weber, who was a roommate of Graham, and Graham were in the gym training. They came back to VCU in the gym. Then Coach goes to dinner with Graham and his family, and today he's like, oh, this is an amazing opportunity to see my former player get his jersey retired. And then Graham says, look, this is all about loyalty. I've given everything to VCU, and it means that they do the same for me now that my jersey's retired. It's just a wonderful story of loyalty and relationship and friendship.
You know, that's what you enjoy most, especially after you've been in this business for a long time as a coach, is the relationship you have with the players. You know, seeing them grow, seeing them develop. It truly is a family thing. And when they come back and you get to tell the old stories about Coach used to curse me out, used to get on me about this and get on me about that, to see the development of these young men as people is the bigger key.
And to do it all with your roommate, Briante Weber, here doing this is amazing. So now, Curry takes the other way, gets the point. Funk from three-point line misses. And now we have VCU ball yet again.
Curry for VCU is the one guys you see coming down in transition. The key here is the reaction after the turnover. VCU is one of those teams that once they get the steal, they're not trying to pull it back out and just run solid offense. They want to get as many easy baskets in transition as they can. So from a defensive standpoint, when you turn it over St. Joe's, you better tail it back.
LaPel Brown-Jones from deep. VCU has been effective from beyond the arc thus far. But, I mean, you mentioned the turnover. St. Joe's season high, 19. Today, they're sitting at 15. We have 5 minutes left. Over 5 minutes left in the first half, my friend.
And a majority of the turnovers have come in the half court. It hasn't been because of the full court pressure. It's been because of broken plays. It's been because they've been loose with the ball in the half court.
That time, Eric Reynolds refused to turn the ball over, found Jordan Hall from deep, and he connected. And you mentioned turnovers, too. St. Joe's forced their fair share. I mean, VCU's at 10. Ace Baldwin drives off the glass. And Eric Reynolds, I love the story that Coach Lang told about him and his development. He drives there and finds his mid-range pull-up. Doesn't go. But he's talking about how he's starting to come into his own, largely due to the efforts of the person he just assisted, Jordan Hall. And I'll tell that story in a minute. Ace Baldwin from deep. Browns-Jones gives them a second life. Remember, St. Joseph's is one of the best defensive and offensive rebounding teams in the conference. They actually lead the A-10 in rebounding. Pretty impressive offensive rebound there by Browns-Jones. And I mentioned Eric Reynolds, though the story is amazing. There they were, in coach's office. He calls in Jordan Hall, calls in Eric Reynolds. They're just watching film, trying to get better. And coach said, Jordan just took over the film session, starts explaining to him the advice. This is how you need to go from here to here, understanding that you don't have to be perfect out there. Take some pressure off yourself. Since then, coach said, meeting over, love to have players like that in my locker room. He has seen a marked improvement in Eric Reynolds' game.
Reynolds is going to be a star in this league. He's from the DMV area. He's played against tough competition his entire high school career. I think a lot of major universities overlooked him. I think he's one of those guys that with each and every game, we've seen a progression. He's confident. You're not going to rattle him. This competition is not going to be a thing that's going to surprise Eric Reynolds. And once he becomes seasoned, he's one of those guys. In this business, they say you just need reps. With each and every game at this level, you're going to see him just start to take off.
So now VCU's extended the lead there. as Jaden Nunn hit that free throw. So that's an 8-point lead by VCU. Foul on Vince Williams. So Ron, we saw that St. Joseph have success early in the game offensively. What does St. Joseph need to do to replicate that success now?
The biggest thing they need to do is take care of the ball. They're a little bit careless with the ball offensively in the half court. They've been a little loosey-goosey. You're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to move. What do they say? Give you body, take away ball. You're going to have to, if you just sit with the ball in your stomach, the way that VCU is conditioned, they claw, they come at you. Defensively, their approach is an awful lot like a lot of the old Georgetown teams back in the day. If they smell blood, they're coming after you.
Funk is a major part of this team, too, and he has been quiet recently. Jordan Hall gets the ball poked out, but they get another possession. They get another shot. There you see Taylor Funk, who majored, by the way, he's majoring in leadership. And he, basically sums up what he does for this team. We have not seen him be as productive in today's outing yet, Ron.
Yeah, and you have to give a lot of credit to VCU for zeroing in on him. He's one of those guys that this season, playing more of his natural position, facing the basket. Last year played a lot of the 5. This year he's facing the basket, moving well without the ball. But when you go from being who's he to being the guy, which he is right now for the Hawks, each and every night you're going to have the best defender on you. And that's what he's suffering so far in this game, is that when he cuts, when he moves without the ball, VCU's pointing at him. There he is, there he goes. He's cutting through. So he's getting superstar attention with each and every possession.
He's a 1,000-point scorer. As I mentioned, majored in leadership and one of the best three-point shooters in the game right now in the A-10 conference. Hall doing what he does so well. Dishing out dimes. There's Coleman who flushes it.
I tell you what, St. Joe's needed that bucket in a huge way. They've gone 1 for their last 10 until that layup. Right here you see Hall with his heads up. Nice cutting by Coleman without the ball, diming. And they have to get more of that. The defense has been a bit stagnant because the offense has been a bit stagnant because they've been peeking at the defense the entire possession, trying to figure out what is VCU doing. Are they going to trap the ball screen this time? Are they going to trap the low post this time? What are they doing? And they haven't been able to hit a rhythm. That's St. Joe's.
And we noticed the pace has been pretty slow in the past couple minutes. Curry there tries to speed it up with a beautiful rock the cradle.
Nice drive there by Curry. I thought he got hit in the head on the drive. He got away. St. Joe's got away with that one.
So here we see Brown going back down low. It's interesting. We've noticed that there have been whistles. I've heard a lot of noises in here, bands, fans, but I've not heard a whistle very often. And we've heard a couple of them recently. It looks like that's playing in St. Joseph's favor. Funk from deep. No, but there's the push off there on the foul on the floor. That's on Charles Coleman.
Anytime the officials catch you extending your arms from a defensive standpoint, you make it easy for them to make a call like that.
So now it is a 6-point deficit. We've noticed this before, just for context. In conference play, St. Joseph's, they have not done too well closing out the halves. All the games that they've lost, their opponents have had a very, very nice run to close the half and to start the second half. The games that they've won, the opposite.
Right.
They've went on the run to close the half.
You know, if you think about St. Joe's so far this game, they haven't played their best, and you're on a road in a sold-out, hostile environment, and you're only down 6. You know, they're in this game and haven't played their best ball at all by any stretch of their imagination.
Vince Williams there missed the free throw, setting up this opportunity. Bishop drives.
Looks like he's a little shaken up on the play, but VCU forces yet another turnover. We're getting awfully close to the season high in the first half.
But that's a great example of the kind of defense that exists from VCU. They're able to put ball pressure on you. They're able to deny one pass away. But that was excellent rotation that time by Williams. Understanding the defensive scheme. When he saw the drive, he came over from the weak side help and got there and lended his teammate a helping hand.
And there it is, another whistle, this time on Ward. Another turnover for VCU. And we mentioned, by the way, Jordan Hall. The way that he has somehow stayed even-keeled despite the runs, despite everything, and still trying to force his team back in this ballgame has been admirable.
Yeah, well, he's seen it all. He's been accustomed to the pressure by VCU. He went through it last year as a freshman. He played primarily just the point guard position last year. You see him running the point now. But this year he doesn't have to do so much of that. But he's the veteran. Even though he's a sophomore, because of the minutes and the time on the floor that he's logged, he's one of their most experienced perimeter players.
And Coach was telling us, hey, just like you told Eric Reynolds, you don't have to be perfect to go out there and ball every night. You also don't have to be perfect to give leadership advice. We're all learning. I'm still learning. You're still learning. And he said since he's had that conversation with Jordan, he's seen Jordan become more and more of a leader. And another guy you mentioned, I love the comp between Jordan and Ace. Two young guys with all that wisdom. They walk with a certain wisdom, don't they?
Well, because they've logged so many minutes. They're only sophomores halfway through this sophomore season on paper. But when you look at the amount of minutes that they've logged, when you look at their time of possession of the basketball, they have the time of possession and the experience now of a lot of juniors in this league.
So now Hassan Ward has 3 fouls. That's something to keep a very important note on.
Because when this game was sputtering, Ward came in off the bench and got tip-ins, got out in transition, got those dunks. He really gave this arena the energy and juice that he needed.
I see Deloach trying to fill that big rim protection spot. Coleman, nice dish on the outside there. But Brown couldn't get to go. He's there for the follow-up. Double taps the back of the rim, back of the glass there, and it goes.
Give St. Joe's an awful lot of credit, Corey, that possession and staying with it. They did to VCU what VCU usually does to its opponents. They crashed the offensive boards and got an extra possession.
And when you're a great rebounding team, you gotta love a second life. That time, though, Ace Baldwin searches the basket for Coleman, creates an opportunity. The DB is everywhere. The defensive back is flying around. Deloach doesn't find an outlet, decides to take it himself. The defense collapses, and there is the jump ball. A little tussle afterwards, and a technical. So let's just look at this really quick. St. Joe's, they were down 8 points. We were wondering how they were going to close out this half. 53.2 seconds left, and it's a 2-point ball game.
Yep. And because they've executed more in the half court, right here you see Deloach in the post, getting a little frustrated right here. He should have just kind of let things go. Right there, he pushed off a little bit. Credit Hall for acting a little bit. He didn't push him that hard. But, again, whenever you see the arm extension, it's a little bit excessive, and he's a freshman. He'll learn, look, you're up 2. We've been in a war so far here in the first half. Let's proceed to the locker room with the advantage. Right now, St. Joe's having the opportunity to tie it, 53 seconds. They potentially could even go up in the locker room at the half with now the momentum. VCU had the momentum. The crowd was behind them. Now it kind of takes the air out of it a little bit.
So now we're going to end with a jump ball possession. St. Joseph gets the ball back. So you mentioned now it's a tie ball game. That 8-point deficit erased. Under a minute to go, and St. Joseph gets the ball back. Deloach had a similar issue with foul trouble against Davidson, and down the stretch, they lost that game. So an interesting error by the young player once again in this game. Can St. Joseph take advantage of it? Well, it'll probably come down to Jordan Hall doing what he does, finding Coleman on a roll. There's Funk from beyond the arc, and there's a foul, if you will believe it. We just mentioned how important he was to this ball club. He knocks down both free throws, ties it, and now, going into half, they could have the lead.
And what I like about that play that Coach Lang designed, you put Funk at the top of the key. VCU, there when they start to rotate after they've trapped and after they've scrambled, they got smaller guards trying to contest Funk, who's 6'9", taking the jump shot. And right there, Baldwin was a little late on the rotation, got him on the wrist. Funk sold it just a little bit. Baldwin didn't knock him down to that degree.
There must be an acting professor working with this.
But give the guys credit. Look, you got to sell the game a little bit, but Funk's now doing the hard part. He's at the free throw line knocking down these threes.
Well, after 5 seasons and 4 Emmy wins, the final chapter of This Is Us is here. Don't miss a moment of TV's #1 drama, This Is Us, new Tuesdays on NBC.
Have you ever seen This Is Us? You ever watched the show? You got to watch it. You got to watch it. My wife used to turn it on every night, and I used to just cringe, but then I started to get into it myself.
Well, there's a glowing endorsement there. The last time St. Joe's led, get this, 12 minutes, 53 seconds left in the game, or in the first half. 8-7, 24-22 here as we see the eclipse of this half.
You know what happens when you hit conference play? Each team knows you so well that you're not going to do anything that's going to surprise them. You know, it's just a matter of you adjusting to what they do to you. Early in this game, VCU, they came after St. Joe's in the half court. And what has St. Joe's? They've done. They've adjusted. They've started to figure out other ways to be successful. The last couple of possessions, we saw them draw fouls as opposed to just relying on their half-court offense. We saw them starting to crash the offensive boards and get second shot opportunities. You find a way to be successful within the course of a game.
And now, St. Joe's up 3 due to Mr. Funk knocking down all 3 free throws. Ace Baldwin prowling there at half court.
Look, they're going to try to hold it for one possession. Look for a high ball screen. Ace is going to come off, try to create. You got shooters in both corners.
Less than a second difference between play and shot clock. There's the screen.
There's the ball hand. The high. Ooh.
Vince Williams from 3. This time it didn't go. Same place the last 2, but Curry, buzzer beater. Will it count? We're all holding our breath here. Thousands of us here at Siegel Center.
Again, St. Joe's, when the shot went up, they relaxed, and then VCU, they kept playing. Let's just hope Curry's not okay. He's hobbling right now. Again, he kept playing, kept fighting, went after the ball. Was undercut just a bit, landed on his hip. He's hobbling off the floor right now. Let's hope his ankle or his knee is okay and it's not that serious. Credit VCU for sticking with what they do. Again, they beat you up with defense. They beat you up with second chance opportunities. They crash the offensive boards, closing out the first half with a bucket.
Well, here it is, St. Joseph's 25-24. Time for the halftime report. Here's Ahmed Fareed. One of the worst teams in the conference as far as forcing turnovers. They're sitting at 13th. So VCU has struggled. I think, in a word, this game has been sloppy.
Sloppy. That was very accurate. I mean, both teams early on, and one of the main reasons for that is both teams have struggled. You know, look, the St. Joe's, they've struggled to put together back-to-back wins. VCU, they're coming off 2 losses in a row, even though they were against high-quality teams, so they're a little tight. Both teams, from an offensive standpoint, has had very little rhythm and very little cadence to their offense.
One person who might be able to fill that offensive production you're looking for just took that shot that was off the mark, Jordan Hall.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be Jordan Hall. He's going to have to be the one that helped Taylor Funk in the half-court producing buckets.
On the other end, though, VCU, we saw them try to do this early in the game. Did not work. They went straight to Levi Stockard and then scored a quick bucket. None with the replacement 2 quick points. And another steal. Ace Baldwin. Another 2 points.
When the shark smells blood, he keeps coming. Right now, VCU is smelling a lot of blood in the water right now. Great job by VCU at scrapping, scurrying, clawing. They wanted to get this game headed in their direction early. Welcome back to the Siegel Center here in Richmond, Virginia. And Corey, they say pressure busts pipes. Well, the pipes are starting to burst just a little bit. You see VCU turning up the pressure. They have an active hands. Not only are they picking up full court, they're picking up with a purpose. When the ball comes in bounds, they're not settling for just playing defense. You see the guys fighting, clawing after the ball, and then VCU doing what they do best. After they generate a turnover, they're attacking the offensive rim. They use their full court pressure defense. They use their half court pressure defense to generate good offense.
Hey, look at that right there. Steals. Ace Baldwin's one of the best in the conference in steals, and today they're above the season average.
Well, you know, when you look at it on the season, of the defensive possessions that exist, VCU usually gets a steal 23% of those. They've exceeded that so far in today's game. And early in the game, you were saying, what's going on with VCU? They're struggling offensively. And I said, just wait. Let the defense start to warm up. And that's just what we've seen so far here in the second half.
You're seeing Coach Lang try to get his team to run this offense. Can you tell me, what is that residual effect, that breakdown of seeing the press possession after possession?
As you try to explain it, we just see it. You get frustrated, you see steals, you see leak outs, you see energy.
You
all of a sudden,
fans.
the fans are in the game. I mean, it's one of those deals where you just get tired of someone in your back pocket. You know, you're hearing your coach say, get us into our offense, run the 2-play, run the 3-play, run fist up. As a player, you're like, I just want to be able to do that. Right here, you see pressure on the ball. You see carelessness right here by Reynolds. And then what do you see? Active hands with Baldwin shooting the passing lane. You have to give Reynolds some assistance in that situation. You understand defensively that VCU denies one pass away. The receiver has to do a better job at shielding the defender and almost posting up on the perimeter so that Reynolds has an easier chance to make that pass.
And you mentioned before there are other players on both teams, Hall and Ace, that walk with a certain wisdom. Reynolds, he's playing really well. He's coming on, but he is a freshman. And you could see that residual effect that you described, how a freshman processes what we're seeing in real time.
Exactly, and Eric Reynolds is competitive enough to make the adjustment. You know, again, as we touched on earlier, he just needs reps, he needs miles. He'll learn from that, but that last possession, the play wasn't all on Reynolds. The play was on whomever it was that was coming to receive the ball. They have to do a better job at giving the quarterback, which was Reynolds in that situation, a better target.
And there we see Ejike Obinna just knock down both free throws. It looked as though after the Curry dunk, this entire arena was starting to bring a tide of energy that BC would ride. But right now, it could go back in the favor of St. Joseph's. And Ace steps out of bounds. An unforced error and another turnover by VCU. So the tide might have stemmed. It's been allayed for the current moment, Ron. But we will see here St. Joseph trying to break the press.
But you got to give the Hawks credit. You know, every time you think that this game is going to get ugly, they find a way to settle in. They find a way to get back in this thing. When you look at it, heck, they're only down 5 right now.
Despite the fact of shooting 29% from the field in the first half, only down 5. Hall, an acrobatic catch, pivots off the glass. VCU pushing the pace now. Curry trying to find Stockton. We saw this to open up the half. Stockton powering his way through, but Funk is there. A block. Williams cleans it up, and another block by Hall. What a turn in events.
Again, we talked about Reynolds making the adjustment. Watch his post feed to Hall. He's receiving pressure, understands, get it out of your hand, give it to Hall on the low block. St. Joe's does a lot better when there's movement, body movement in the half court. Let's look for this in the second half. Let's see, can they get more activity from an offensive standpoint of cutters and moving without the ball. That makes it easier on the guy that has the ball, that has the pressure on him, because it gives him more options.
There we see Eric Reynolds. He knew as soon as it happened, he put both his hands up and slapped his thighs. A foul on him that could, once again, the momentum is so fragile, such a fragile thing. And right now it appeared to be at least in St. Joseph's favor. Will VCU take full advantage of this? Remember, they started off the half on a 6-0 run. And St. Joseph have struggled by giving their opponents really big runs to start the second half. Curry drives this time, loses the ball, but it's a foul. So he'll go to the free throw line.
Interesting possession that time. Curry drove hard to the basket. Charles Coleman, he was trying to get out of the way, just couldn't move fast enough. He had his back turned actually to Curry, trying to run out of the way.
So we'll see here, can VCU extend the lead?
You know what I think is interesting is seeing Curry's energy so far in the second half has been great.
Don't miss every medal, every moment of the Winter Olympics, beginning February 3rd on NBC. And I remember growing up, back to his fifth Olympics. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see that kind of dominance over such a long amount of time.
You know, when you look at Curry at the start of the second half, the energy that we've seen from him, don't forget about that hard fall we saw at the end of the first half. He didn't even go into the locker room right away. His back was injured so severely he had to sit down on the bench, regroup. And then we saw when he came out of the tunnel for the warm-ups, he had this brace around his back. So to see him get off to this kind of start has been great, I think, for Mike Rhodes and the VCU Rams.
Well, he extends the lead now to a 5-point lead. And there's that famous press. Reynolds goes behind the back, but Baldwin's there. Baldwin's always there. This time it's a foul.
Again, they gave it a different look that time. They picked up full court man-to-man, and just as Reynolds came across half court, Baldwin left his man in trap right at half. Right here, we're going to see Baldwin come into the picture with the hard trap. Reynolds has to be careful. You can't go behind your back with that pressure, and he'll start to learn that when you come across the half-court line, when VCU picks up in their full-court man-to-man, that's when they look to try to come after you.
We'll see how quickly the freshman can learn. Another trap in the same exact spot. This time, it's a jump ball.
Again, that's an example of when I said that as a point guard, which Reynolds is playing that position right now, you say coach is telling you what play to run. As you see Reynolds coming out, coach is going to give him a breather to try to get him to regroup. Coach is telling you, run the two-play, Corey, run the two plays. And the Hawks are like, I can't get into the two-play because they keep trapping every time we set a ball screen.
It's like someone trying to interrupt you in your mid-story, right? It's just, let me tell the story at dinner. Demir Bishop comes in. Remember, he had 20 points last year against VCU. Might be a place for some offensive production, but right now, just give the ball to Taylor Funk. Why need a second one to help you with offense?
Let me tell you, that's a tough shot. Funk made it look extremely easy, but to pump fake from three, not take a rhythm dribble, and stand in the same spot and launch it, tough shot.
18 points for Funk. This time, Stockard decides to go one-on-one. Nice spin, nice post move. Could not finish. So here comes the St. Joseph Hawks trying to tie it up with just over 16 minutes in the game. Hall pulls it back out, directing traffic once again. Brown receives. Obina wants the ball, but they're having trouble getting him the ball. Brown then calls for the screen. 2 seconds on the shot clock. He gets a shoot. He gets it off. Short. Funk's there. Goes off his foot. And Obina wanted the foul. Couldn't get it. What a bizarre possession that then results in VCU. Well, here, Ace Baldwin has had a marked effect on his team. I mean, you look at games with him versus games without him. You don't even have to look at the numbers. All they tell you is put him in the game.
And it shows you how talented a young man this freshman is. They're scoring 10 more points a game, and they're up almost 6 percentage points higher now that he's on the floor. And just what that means is it means a guy like Williams can now play his natural position. It means a guy like Ward can settle in and catch a few more lobs. Their offense flows an awful lot smoother, and it's just like having that security blanket on the floor as you see Curry.
Yeah, Curry just glides, doesn't he? And the thing about Ace Baldwin, we've seen him active, like I said, basically everywhere. Everywhere there's a trap, everywhere there's a steal, he's been a part of it. This is all off of a torn Achilles. That's what's so amazing about that stat, is that he missed 8 games this season due to an Achilles injury. And within 6 months, he's playing at this level.
Well, credit the medical staff and the trainers and everyone that got him, 1, back in shape, and 2, that Achilles stronger than it ever was before. And again, I give him credit in terms of mentally staying plugged in to what needed to be done. He could have used that as a reason to sputter coming out the gates, but first game back, second game back, third game back, he's off to where he was last year, and Mike Rhodes can't say enough glowing positive things about this young man.
Bishop driving, gets the foul, and he'll go to the line. Remember, at half, 10 free throws shot, 10 free throws made. 9 of them belonged to Mr. Taylor Funk. Now Mr. Bishop gets a chance to add to the total. That foul was on Jaden Nunn.
Nunn, number 23 for VCU, he's another one of those talented freshmen that are in this league. When you think of Nunn and then you think of Eric Reynolds, this league is in good hands going forward, I tell you that.
Nunn exits the game and Hassan Ward enters. We talked about him being in early foul trouble. We talked about the rim protection. We've seen Bishop drive to the rim, Funk being fouled, going to the foul line often. He misses both, but he wrestles with Ace, gets the ball back. There's Ward with the rim protection, but a quick foul. He can hardly believe it.
But if you're Lang and St. Joe's Hawks, you don't care how the points come. If they're all at the free throw line, you'll take them. This is another way for them to get to the basket. I like the energy and that effort that time by Bishop. Got the offensive rebound, attacked hard. And VCU, naturally, they're going to defend their rim, and he threw his body in there and giving the Hawks another way to try to generate some points here at the foul line.
So, I mean, that's not even 10 seconds in the game for Ward. That's number 4 as far as fouls are concerned for him.
And that's a huge, huge blow because he's the one big rim protector that VCU has. The other guys, they protect the rim in a slightly different way. They do it on the floor in terms of rotating, taking charges, coming over, clogging up the middle. But Ward is the one that when VCU was sputtering a little bit here in the first half, he ignited them, giving them second chance opportunities, getting out in transition, getting some dunks.
You saw that look of longing there as he tried to talk to coach. Wanted to be back out there. Deloach, though, coming in big with a two-handed rim rocker.
Deloach says, Ward, take a seat, rest a little bit. I got your back, big fella.
And Mikel Brown-Jones also coming in the game there for Rote. Now another turnover. Can they capitalize? Like we saw at the beginning of the half, a no-look pass. Brown-Jones going up, hits the ground hard, but he'll go to the foul line for 2 shots.
Brown-Jones got that attempt at the free throw line, but I tell you what, I really like the job that Adrian Baldwin did that time in transition. He let the play breathe a little bit. He could have forced up a shot. He didn't. After this turnover, watch here. He pushes it hard. He could have pulled up right there again. He makes the extra pass, and then Williams makes another pass with Jones coming down the middle. That was unselfish basketball. That's one of those things that Adrian Baldwin that time almost got a hockey assist. You know, he won't get credit for that play, but when coaches go back and watch the film, they say, wow, he did a really good job. He let the play breathe. He let it take shape. He let it take form.
Sometimes you hear this idea of playing checkers, other people playing chess.
Yes.
Thinking multiple moves ahead. Yeah, that would be a hockey assist.
Yeah, no, and that's
category.
He has ace Baldwin, that is, that natural ability. He's not just playing the point guard position. He has a feel and a knack for it, and that's hard to coach.
Brown-Jones knocks down that free throw, extends the lead to 3. Now, although this game has felt sloppy at times, fast at times, and even slow at times.
Because it's been all of those.
It's been all of those.
It's been sloppy, it's been fast, it's been slow. We've had all parts of those senses.
But this team is still, St. Joseph's is still 3 points away from getting their first victory here at Siegel. It's still very much a possibility.
They're knocking on the door in a hostile environment.
And not just any environment, this could be a triumphant environment because one of the legends this year, jersey retired before the game. Sometimes, could that add a little extra pressure?
It doesn't add extra pressure. It gives the crowd an awful lot more juice. And sometimes your former teammates a lot of juice. As you see Williams there drawing the contact and still able to finish. This is just a big-time move right here. Again, good offensive movement by VCU. We saw ball movement and body movement that leads to Williams' nice little head fake coming down the alley. Gives another head fake at the end of his dribble, going to the foul line. Head fake to start the dribble, head fake to finish the dribble, go to the free throw line. Textbook. That's one of those things, you drill that as a coach. Pump fake to start the dribble. If you don't have an easy layup, pump fake at the end. Good things normally happen.
So now he's in double-digit points, and we talked about Vince Williams earlier in the game. Coach Roach told us to finish games. We struggled doing that, by the way, finishing games, being VCU. Vince Williams need to be an offensive focus down the stretch if we want to finish games. Here, Brown-Jones continues his impact. Knocks out a free throw, goes to the line, follows it on the other end. Gets the charge, forcing another turnover as St. Joseph's creeps towards that season total.
That's a half-court defense that we talked about earlier. VCU's known for their full-court pressure, but that was excellent half-court defense. St. Joe's will start to realize that once they start to drive, you can't glide. You almost have to jump stop because that third-line defender is coming over to take the charge every time for VCU.
Deloach challenged by Eduque. Obina, wow. Going the other way, Funk in transition, gets the contact, and he'll go to the line where he has been splendid, quite frankly. And I mentioned this idea of creeping and turnovers. They're actually well over. It's 21 for them.
A great job, I thought, by St. Joe's defensively by them. Excellent rotation. Eduque protects the rim, which leads to the leak out, which leads to a fast break, it leads to a potential scoring opportunity by Funk. That time, I thought, St. Joe's, their rotation was really good. Eduque came over, he clogged up the middle, did what you need your big to do, and then their reaction time was very similar to VCU's. Once they got the block, they pushed it hard, got out in transition.
And you mentioned defense turning into offense. That block now turns into 11 for 11 from the free throw line for Funk. Taylor Funk has been, as I mentioned, quite frankly, splendid. But where's that offensive production going to come from the rest of the team? Remains to be seen. Ace Baldwin, a late whistle. That's Eduque. His third. It's interesting, Ron, when you look at the flow of this game, it has, every feeling in the dictionary.
Yes.
But it's really cool to see how St. Joseph's, despite the up and down, one step forward, one step backwards they've had this season, when they're in the ball game this late in the second half, they close. In fact, when they're actually up going into the second half, they're 8-1. So they're playing from a place of confidence, it seems like, despite the hostile environment you mentioned.
And coming off the tough season that they had last year and the year before that, Billy Lang, in each of his seasons, has had his guys focus in their attention to detail. And this season clearly is one of the better teams that he's put together talent-wise. He has guys that can play their natural position because he had the addition of a few more pieces. A guy like Eduque Obina on the inside, clogging up the middle, so you can have a guy like Funk play his natural position on the perimeter. So he's had the attention of his guys. It's just been a matter of picking the right time to get over the hump.
Funk thought that was off of VCU, but no dice. And you mentioned last year, how about this? 5-15 overall record, 2-9 in the A10. So definitely, we see from that to this, where they're going toe-to-toe with, for all intents and purposes, a team that has received votes. This is in some brackets, this could be a tournament team in VCU.
Oh, without a doubt, this could be a tournament ball club, and I'm sure Mike Rhodes, he's expecting that. And to see progress, as Billy Lang has seen, is what you want from a program. You want to see the maturation process. You want to see guys starting to understand. And then you start to throw in the transfer portal, which just got thrust into college basketball a season ago. And now that's another adjustment that universities have to make. And then you start to deal with the COVID situation with guys in and out of the lineup, guys sick, guys taking time off. Then when they come back, you can't just throw them back out there. There's like a 10-day period that you got to kind of slowly get them back into the mix. So it's just been tons of adjustments. But to see Billy Lang start to get this thing going in the right direction, the people in Philly have got to be excited.
And that's what he mentioned, this idea of continuity. It kept coming up with all those factors you mentioned.
It's hard to establish. It's hard to establish continuity. It's hard to establish rhythm.
Brown from deep. You could hear a pin drop in Siegel, I'm telling you. From the beginning of the day, such a raucous, joyous occasion, to right now, I see a lot of worried faces in the arena.
When you look at the Hawks so far in this game, they need someone to come along to the party and join Taylor Funk. They need someone from the half court to be able to produce some points consistently.
Curry finds Williams, who just double-checks. Am I beyond the line? The answer is yes, you're beyond the line. That's 3 points. Williams has single-handedly kept extending this lead for VCU.
Williams' DNA is all over this game so far. He's gotten rebounds, he's gotten deflections, he has assists. Now he's carrying the scoring load. You see him coming from behind.
Brown's on the ground after hitting that big three. Recovers it, gives his team another chance. Hall slows it down, feeds Eduque one-on-one with Deloach. Does not get a favorable roll, and here comes Curry. We've seen him attack the rim so many times. This time, he decides better not. Pulls it out, gets the ball to old reliable Ace Baldwin. It's a moment of rest in what has generally been a roller coaster of emotions. Reynolds, this matchup between Baldwin, what an unbelievable challenge.
Both of these ball clubs have been sputtering somewhat in terms of hitting the rhythm offensively, in terms of hitting the rhythm, in terms of logging back-to-back wins. Vince Williams is going a long way to make sure VCU heads in that direction.
And before the game, we were watching everyone warm up, and I asked you, what do you think about Vince Williams? The word you used was versatile.
Again, because he can do so many things on the floor, he can put the ball on the floor just enough. He can shoot it well enough. He understands defensively schemes. He's not a liability. He can guard multiple positions.
And one thing that stood out to me as far as versatility is you saw him shoot threes. He's 50% from the three-point line today, and then you go up and guard him, and he goes to the rim. That time, Brown Jones tries a very tough shot over Taylor Funk. All 6'8" of Funk was altered that shot.
But while Vince Williams is doing all those things you just touched on offensively, he's not becoming, or he doesn't become, a liability on the defensive end. He's able to guard multiple positions as well.
Brown Jones playing Funk physical, tough. This time educate. One-on-one with Stockton. He's taking his time. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Muscles through, but it's a travel.
Excellent defensive possession that time by Stockton. He took the challenge, moved his feet, didn't reach. It was big on big that possession, and he forced the turnover.
You see him when he was walking down the floor after that. Remember, this was 7-10 seconds of just isolation basketball. Stockton seems unfazed. And this is one of the moments you realize that confidence that exudes. Educate has been posting double-double after double-double after double-double. Stockton is unfazed.
Well, because he's a senior, he understands there's a bigger picture. He understands that that's just one possession.
Almost loses the ball there. Ward does, turns the ball over. It's been a very tough day for Ward. In all honesty, he's been in foul trouble, been in and out of the game often. And now he's sitting there with 4 fouls and a few turnovers to his name. But can he fix it around? He's such a pivotal part of this team, and you mentioned it. When he is on the court, he does affect it positively.
He does, because he gives you second chance scoring opportunities. Right now, he's an all-conference defender. He's guarding Funk, who's the best scorer on the opposing team. At 6'9", your starting center is guarding the other team's small forward. So his value is huge. It's insurmountable, but he hasn't been able to hit a rhythm this game. But again, when you have a team, when you have a quality ball club, other guys pick up where you seem to have left a hole, and that's what VCU's done so far this game.
That is the 3rd foul for Vince Williams. So we're starting to get into foul trouble here with 9 minutes left in the game. Ward, Williams, all these people that we said for the course of the afternoon. Big time impact on the game. And I want to just mention really quick as Hall shoots the second free throw. At the top of the second half, you said, where is the offensive production going to come from? Hall, he's filled that gap. 9 points now.
Yep, without a doubt. And that's which has been huge, which has been absolutely huge. I like how Mike Rhodes right now is giving Vince Williams a blow. You have a bit of a cushion so far this game. Look for him not to stay on the bench for long. Look for coach to use him in an offense-defense kind of situation if he has to bring him in before the 5-minute mark, just to try to limit some of his floor activity.
Curry hustling against Hall, gets the shot to fall. When he's in the air, it is beautiful. He just glides all across the floor. That time, Educate would not let anyone deny him access to the rim. He goes to the line.
Great pass, great catch, great aggression by Educate right there. You see good ball movement by St. Joe's. Paul realizes Educate's open on the inside, but Educate, when he caught it, he turned with aggression. He understood that once he turned, it may be a trap, it may be a double team, it may be a guard snapping back, and he turned with a ferocious mentality and went up to the basketball.
That foul is on Ace. Excuse me. Yes, that foul is on Ace Baldwin. That is his 3rd. But it's interesting. We notice every single time St. Joseph's appears to be down and out, down 8, down 10, VCU goes on a run. They slowly but surely claw themselves, will themselves back into this ball game, and Educate knocks down another free throw. Still within reach.
That's why I keep saying if we can figure out, or if Coach Lane can figure out who that next scorer is going to be, then when Funk is guarded, you have that other person that you can kind of go to get a bucket when you need it, especially on the road in a hostile environment like this.
Curry has been that bucket getter for VCU in recent possessions. A tip by Ward. There's that impact you mentioned. And none. Formerly the elite bowler turned basketball player. This time turns the ball over, and Hall, smooth and steady, brings us to a manageable pace now. It's interesting, just for context, VCU 29-5 the past 3 seasons when scoring over 20 points off turnovers. Today, they have 22. That ball rattles around. It's tipped by Educate. Reynolds just lets his arm down in frustration. It looked like it was going to go in.
Reynolds would love to have that possession again because he did the hard work. He got there. The easy part was making the layup.
Why don't we take another look at that last play?
Yeah, but Coach Billy Lane spent a majority of the timeout going off on the officials because he thought that Reynolds got bumped right there by none. And then you see the tip in right there that they did not count. I think they said that it was basket interference. And that possession, Coach Lang was livid with the officials because he said, forget trying to make the decision about the tip in. My guy should have been at the free throw line, Eric Reynolds shooting free throws, because he got pushed around the way.
And then now it sets up an opportunity for VCU to extend this 6-point lead. Down the stretch, we know St. Joseph's record when leading at halftime this season. It's 8-1. We also know VCU's record the past 3 seasons when they scored over 20 points over turnovers, which they've done. The question is, what will give first? Ace Baldwin, nothing in front of him, so he decides to let it go. A nice left-handed floater. It was short. So here's Eric Reynolds. Slows down, gives the ball to Jordan Hall, the metronome of the team. Now finding people under duress. I love the way that Hall has been the whole game, almost like a thermometer for his team. You're starting to see whenever they're about to go on a run, you see him clapping like that.
And that's experience. You know, he is one of the leaders on this ball club, and the players know that. And there's different ways to lead. It's not always rah-rah, come on, guys. It's sometimes saying intelligent things on the floor at the right time when you're in certain environments, and also knowing how to say and how to communicate those things.
He is a communications major. So that must help. That is KeShawn Curry. That's a foul on KeShawn Curry. And Eduque has continued to just be dominant, I would say, this second half. You know, and he's made his presence felt in a lot of different ways. Sometimes you need a big, not to give you gaudy numbers, but just to be there. You know, to touch cutters, to clog up the middle, you know, to get a rebound here or there, to score when it's absolutely necessary. He's been that for St. Joe. None from 3. Curry, once again, he has been the name that we most often call for VCU this half.
You know, we've talked about the Hawks needing someone else to come along for the ride to help Funk. At different parts of this game, we can say Ward helped VCU, Williams helped VCU, Curry's helped VCU, Baldwin, Adrian Baldwin has been there at certain points in time. So they've had multiple guys pitch in. That's why I think they had the edge. As you see Stockard on the low block doing his share, carrying his share of the load as well.
And you don't look at it in the offensive production, but I know it's only 4 points, but he has been pivotal down the stretch too, especially defensively on Eduque as he continues to dominate.
Well, just as Eduque has clogged up the middle and been right on time, so has Stockard been for the second half for VCU.
We mentioned that both teams searching for offensive production. VCU trying to replace that 20 points a game, Bones Highland. St. Joseph trying to figure out how to get Funk more involved, and there it is. Buzzer beater, good.
With that time, Funk said, don't worry about it, let me figure it out. Coach, give me the ball and everyone get out the way. And this is just a big-time one-on-one move. This is good. This is a good defensive possession right here. You see Williams sliding his feet. Counters, takes a good job contesting. That was just good defense, but better offense by Funk.
He has been so impressive.
He's gone into his bag. You know, he's shown you that he can get out in transition, fill a lane, and get a bucket. He's shown you that he can push it in transition, find guys. He's shown you that he can catch and shoot when off of penetration and kick. And in that possession, he showed you that he can go a little ISO Joe. He can isolate and get you a basket too.
Sounds like my middle school bag. I had every book, American history, Texas history, isn't it?
Look, my mom made me take every book home too also, because she said, I don't want to hear you didn't do your homework because you left your book at school, so I had to empty out my whole locker.
Taylor Funk's book bag is big.
So when I went into my bag, it was because moms made me.
No, we're entering into 6-minute game territory, which Coach Rhodes told us. This is the key to finishing close games, not to beat yourself. Take care of the ball, no turnovers, solid defense, no fouls. If you do that, then you force the other team to beat you. They have to make shots. They have to play defense. And VCU right now, as we enter into the 6-minute game, historically they have struggled. And in moments like this, historically this season, St. Joseph has been a coin flip. Some days good, some days bad. Which day will it be today?
And this is at the point in time in the game during timeout where coaches are referring back to practices. Remember, guys, in practice when we worked on X. Remember when we worked on Y. Remember when we talked about closing games. this is the time period that I meant. This is the time when we have to do it.
We're starting to see that sloppy play rear its ugly head once again at a critical moment, as we mentioned. We look at VCU. Coach Rhodes signaled that, beautiful play by Ace and Levi on that, just a two-man game. And we see the full court press.
You know what's interesting? That play looked very simple. Ace came off a ball screen. Stockard rolled to the basket, and it was in a crowd, and it just looked simple. But that was very complex in terms of skill set on both parts. The big fellow was able to finish in a crowd. Just excellent individual basketball, that possession by VCU.
Educate passing while still in the air to Funk, who rarely misses from three, gets the rebound. Educate does, finds Reynolds, the freshman, who is off. Now, when we talk about VCU, we know their guy down the stretch has been anointed by coach to be Vince, right? We need Vince Williams to be that guy for us down the stretch, for us to win games. We asked Coach Lane, who is that guy for you? And he gave us several names.
Yeah, he gave us multiple guys. He talked about Hall. He talked about a guy like Reynolds as a freshman who's been good at times. He also talked about Funk, how talented he is. So you need to know. But I think as time goes on, players start to anoint who that guy is. You know what I'm saying? You know who, even though a play is drawn up, who really believes that they're going to take this shot, they're going to make this shot. Not necessarily take it, who believes inside that it's going in when it goes up.
And right now we see an uncharacteristic turnover. Once again, I guess this whole day has been uncharacteristic turnover-wise for VCU. The frustration is visible on Vince's face there as they turn the ball over and VCU recovers. But why give them the opportunity, right?
The turnovers have been an Achilles heel for both ball clubs. At halftime, we're talking 16 turnovers for St. Joe's and 14 for VCU. As Williams nails the three, as Funk slips when he comes off the screen, and Williams makes him pay.
It's the largest lead of the game for VCU. Remember, St. Joseph's went on an 8-0 run to start, and now they're down 10. Can the freshman phenom Eric Reynolds get something going? Can Jordan Hall continue to be the second guy? Educate's dominant, but most of the production has come from Funk. Who will be the guy? Levi Stockard said definitely not Educate that possession. My goodness. The crowd is starting to get on their feet. We're hearing noise in Siegel.
You know, we talked in the first half about the residual effects of defensive pressure. We're starting to see it here. Now, the VCU, they're flying all over the place. Shots that seem to be shots aren't always there. And then on the offensive end, when St. Joe's has open looks, their legs are a little heavy now, and they're not knocking down those open shots like they were earlier in the game.
Here at the Siegel Center, the crowd, which has been pretty quiet, I would say, for the most part, in the past couple minutes, they're on their feet. I'm seeing young boys and girls waving around foam fingers. I'm seeing people excited to be here as their team is starting to become securing their spot as victors in this late game thus far. 4.5 minutes to play, up 10. Will this be the final storyline for us, or does St. Joseph have a chance?
Well, we're about to find out right now. You know, St. Joseph's now needs that those one or two guys to kind of stick their chest out and say, look, we're down 10, we're on the road, we're in a hostile environment. I'm going to be the one to put us on our back. I'm going to be the one to get key rebounds. I'm going to be the one to get key blocks. That, you know, someone's going to have to grow up in this kind of situation for them to take the next step. Credit VCU for not getting down early in this game. Don't forget, early on, St. Joe's jumped out to an early lead. And with that lead, VCU could have been frustrated. VCU could have started to falter, but they stayed the course. They allowed their defense, as we've been talking about, to be their offense. They weren't generating steals early, but the pressure, as we see as time wore on, started to wear on St. Joe's. And then all of a sudden, what happened? St. Joe's started to get careless with the ball, which led to good offense for VCU.
Yeah, if you had a label for this game in a Tupperware box or something, it would be stay the course for VCU.
Yes.
Look at the turnovers. That has been a huge story. 25 for St. Joe's, 18 for VCU.
25 turnovers is an incredible number. I mean, to not be down by more than 10, having 25 turnovers is an amazing thing. But look, VCU, they've turned it over as well themselves, but VCU, that's where their butter is bread. And if they're able to turn you over 25 times, they're going to get multiple easy baskets. They're going to start to get their swagger. They're going to start to get their mojo. And then when they're doing that at home, with this sold-out crowd, the electricity and the decibel level just goes to another level, which we're starting to see in the final 4 minutes of this half.
You mentioned bread and butter. Well, the jam there is the points off of turnovers. 24 for VCU, 11 for St. Joe's. And right now, we have Jaden Nunn at the free throw line continuing to extend this lead and continuing to fire up this crowd.
Well, you talked about the points off of the turnovers. Like that's what VCU does. I mean, that is how that's part of their offense. You know, they're not going to always play flawlessly and have fluid offensively, but when they turn you over, they sprint down the other end and get easy buckets.
That time, a tough shot by Reynolds has translated into another VCU possession. This time, Ace, hand out, fully extended. Let's slow it down.
Love that possession. Love that savvy by Ace. They could have pushed it. He says, look, we got a nice lead. Let's pull it out. Let's run some offense. Let's cut some clock and make the clock as much of an opponent as Williams goes down the middle as we are.
Down the stretch, who shows up? The bat signals in the air. Vince Williams responds. And that time we saw it again. Talk about his bag. Going all the way from the three-point line. Brown, on the other hand, assisted by who else? Jordan Hall, who continues to just have a pretty nice second half here. So once again, St. Joseph refusing to be relegated. A foul, though.
Right now, Corey, 3:36 to go on the clock. The scoring, the clock becomes as much of a defensive player as VCU becomes for St. Joe's. You know, because you're looking at that clock, look for St. Joe's to start to shoot the ball a little quicker than they were earlier in the game.
That foul's on Eric Reynolds. We'll be right back. Eric Reynolds just fouled out, and he's one of the spark plugs for this team today. The spark wasn't there, but all in all, what did you think about his performance and impact?
Well, I thought it was a rough one today. He had a rough go at it, which freshmen are going to have, and that's why you never want to put yourself in a situation where you're dependent upon a freshman to be your best player or to carry the load. He's going to bounce back. He's one of the most talented guards.
But a learning lesson going against the Havoc here at Siegel, one of the toughest places to play in the A-10. And it's a 13-point game. Ace Baldwin gets Bishop on the floor. We hear oohs and ahs all around.
But you know what? Any other time, a player would have taken that shot once he made the opponent fall. But again, the clock is in the favor of VCU. Let's cut the clock, let's make some passes, and let's try to use as much time each possession as they can.
That time, turn the ball over, and Hall just easily attacking the rim, taking full advantage of that turnover.
Baldwin knew he made a careless pass, frustrated with himself. I like the fact that he's...
I mean an even greater refund. You do your thing. We've got your taxes.
And you mentioned Ace Baldwin making savvy decisions down the stretch, not forcing the shots.
But there's a fine line if you're St. Joe's. You want to use clock, but you don't want to stall. And that was a good possession. They cut the clock, they made some passes, but they didn't widen the shot clock all the way down. Nice possession, nice hard push by Baldwin.
And now we see the timeout. They're forcing a timeout. VCU's up 13. The 30-second timeout. We'll be right back. Another turnover, if you could believe it. Ace Baldwin with the ball in his hands. He's been involved in basically every single play this game, including scoring the last bucket and forcing another turnover.
And again, we talked about the pressure and it wearing on you, not just physically but mentally. We're starting to see that the last 5 minutes of the game as Baldwin just makes a big-time play. That was just, Reynolds was there, it was good, solid defense, Baldwin just raises and makes it look easy.
So now Hall trying to direct traffic. He wants one-on-one on Curry.
And he's got to go quickly right now because the clock is as much an opponent as VCU. They can't use 30 seconds each possession to try and score.
Under 2 minutes to play now. Eduque trying to clean up. Remember, they're one of the best rebounding teams in the conference, but could not come down with it there. When we look at this, it's really interesting, right? Vince Williams started to come on. He's tied his career high, 21 points today. Then you look at Ace Baldwin, just that last 4 or 5 possessions, the only word you could use is ace. If VCU plays like this, how far can they go?
Oh, they can go extremely far because you've got a big fella like Ward on the interior. You've got a big body like Levi Stockton on the interior. You have multiple pieces, and then when KeShawn Curry's getting it going on the offensive end from the perimeter, it gives you that 1-2 punch in the backcourt. And they're very, very tough ball club, and I'm going to tell you why. because defense travels. That's one of those things that when you go on the road, you don't have to worry about depth perception, and you don't have to worry about the crowd making noise. Defense is one of those things that if you do it at home, you can do it on the road. So they're going to always be in a majority of their games. I think that the situation against St. Bonaventure, where they just got totally run off the floor, was an outlier. You're talking about a team of 5 mature guys that have been around for 4 and 5 years, and one of the better teams, not just in this conference, but in the country. But I really think that St. Joe's is one of those teams that when it's all said and done, VCU is one of those teams that when it's all said and done, they're going to be knocking on the door and making it very hard for the NCAA selection committee.
Well, we're not all said and done today in our matinee. Coming up next, you have Richmond versus LaSalle at 4:30. And on Sunday, you get another one, UMass versus St. Louis at 2:30 Eastern. And when we think about St. Joseph, we asked Coach, we said, look, you're 2-3 in conference play. Where are you right now? Where do you want to be? And his response was, it's just where we are right now. It's just where we are right now. And it's the second half defense is improving. They're trending in the right direction. What do you talk about at practice tomorrow?
Well, it's one of those things where you're going to show them some good things. This wasn't a situation where all bad things happened. You're going to show when we did take care of the ball, this is how we look. When we did get back in defense, this is how we look. It amazes me how Ward, with that 6'9", 6'10" frame, continually beats guards and smaller guys down the floor. With that energy level, not only can Ward run, he is a willing runner.
We know that VCU's defense has been suffocating at times. St. Joseph is below the opponent average for VCU defensively. And Coach told us before the game, he's like, if we can just get 68, 70 points, we'll be good. Well, there's a minute left to play in the game, and they're sitting right at 70 points. Their defense did their job. It looks like they'll continue this undefeated streak versus St. Joseph at home. Funk gives the ball to Jordan Hall. They're still playing hard. Educate. 2 guys pass by in a whirl, and Educate will go back to the line.
VCU is the kind of ball club that their energy is what propels them on both sides of the ball. You see, you get a stop, and then you got to appreciate Ward's energy and effort. Again, Ward was under the basket with everyone fighting for a rebound, and not only is he a willing runner, his reaction time is really good as he makes his 5th foul. He fouls out, and that's been kind of the thread for him in this game, is we would have seen a lot more of those dunks if he was able to log a few more mileage. If he was able to log a few more mileage on the court today, he got into early foul trouble and just plagued them throughout the course of the game.
Still, despite the foul trouble, despite a couple turnovers, finishes with some electric dunks. Got the crowd involved in 7 points. When you look at, just looking at VCU's point total, 11 points, 21 points, 12 points, 7 points, 7 points. Yeah, that's the depth. That's the army that Rose was talking about. Coach Rose told us, we play like an army.
They play 10 guys 10 minutes or more, and you're going to have your opportunity to leave your imprint on this game. And the beauty for Mike Rhodes is in this game, multiple guys have truly done just that.
None attacking the basket. It's tipped, but Deloach touched the ball a little too early, basket interference. So with St. Joseph's moving forward, now you fall to 2-4 in conference play, which is a very competitive conference. What is the hope for their squad down the road? What do you want to see them improve on?
One, short-term memory. You can't let this game linger to the next game. And then 2, taking care of the ball. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to be able to take care of the ball to give yourself a chance. And then the third thing is find consistent scores or consistent guys that can manufacture points, especially in environments like this.
Well, that does it for us here. VCU continues to be 6-0 here at St. Joseph's to wrap up a wonderful evening for Trevion Graham and company.